spinning, and it's red. It says you are live. Yes, I am. How's it going, everybody? Jerry, you're in the shot. We can see you, buddy. Doesn't feel like 6 feet either. Got to keep up good optics here so we don't end up on in Facebook jail. But good to see everybody. Thanks for joining us. Yesterday was the first day we did this, and if I'm being honest, it was a blast. I had a really good time. We're figuring the technology more and more. I got these cool, which side is it on? Boom. I got these cool graphics now. I figured out how to do that. Look at me. And shout out to Ryan Buds for teaching me how to do that. If you guys are looking for something to do, especially with your family, if you're trying to get everyone together, or even your friends that live in different places, every 7 o'clock California time, my buddy Ryan Buds does trivia with Buds. He's one of the best trivia dudes out there, and it's free. You can Venmo him a few bucks if you want, but otherwise it's free. It's a lot of fun. My family and I do it probably once a week when they have like Parks and Rec or The Office or something like that. So support him. He helped me figure all that out. And now that I got it figured out, I can't wait to do more and more with it every single day. I got an awesome guest today. My guest is Jay Austin of the Barbacoa Boyz. I'm going to bring him in just a few minutes. We're going to talk a little barbecue. Yesterday, I had some questions came up in the comments, and as the technology, as we get better with this too, I'm going to have a monitor here where I can read the questions, but it's kind of hard for me now. I mean, I can see people writing stuff, but it's hard for me to go over, read. I think it would slow things down right now. But if you put a question, if I don't get to it today, I will get to it tomorrow, all right? One of the questions yesterday was somebody asked if they should get a cheap smoker from Home Depot because they want to have an entry-level smoker and get into it. And I think that you can buy a cheap digital or propane smoker from Home Depot and be all right. Where you will have a problem is if you just get one of the $100 offset smokers from Home Depot, because those are made out of really cheap materials and it's very difficult to hold temp in those cheap smokers. Now, if you bought one for a couple $100 and it was made of nicer material and it's an offset smoker, obviously you're fine. But the entry-level ones that they sell in places like Lowe's and Home Depot, about for $100, $150, you're gonna have a real hard time. That's what I did. I bought a $100 one on sale, and I just, you're not good at cooking yet at all. And then on top of it, you got to hold and maintain fire. It's just really difficult to maintain heat. So buy one used if you only want to get an offset smoker and keep the price down, or get a digital one, or a little master built. Looks like a little mini fridge. You plug it in and you pop, 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 and you put in the chips. That's all you need while you're learning. And then once you get hooked on it, you'll have no problem dropping $300 or $400 on a nice one. Hope that answers your question. If anyone else has questions, put it in the comments for either me or my guest today. Today, guys, we are drinking from the Dudes Brewing Company, Double Trump Double IPA. Shout out to Dudes Brewing Company for hooking me up with some nice beers. This is a brewery that is in Torrance, California, but they also have tap rooms in Santa Monica and up, I want to say, in like Thousand Oaks-ish area, somewhere up there. They're all over, and they're about to open one in downtown. Good guys, good beers. Cheers, everybody. Couple quick things. Shout out to the El Segundo scene. If you know me at all, I live in El Segundo because it's all I talk about because I love my community here. These ladies have a arts magazine. They've been around for about 2 years now, called the El Segundo Scene, and they did a piece on me called Pandemic Podcasting. Can you see that? It's a little washed out. And it's about my Meet Dave podcast, new episode every single Monday, and also my new podcast, the Tony Azevedo podcast, with five-time Olympian Tony Azevedo. If you like water polo, it's a great listen. I feel very blessed that I get to co-host that with him. It's a real honor to be able to do that because I'm sure a lot of people would love to have that position. I think I'm good. I could circle back to a lot of this stuff later, man. I see my guest is already on, so I'm going to bring him in, everybody. All right? I think I stalled enough and I wasted enough time that I gave people enough time to click on the button and join us. If they haven't, it's their fault. Hey, Jay, if you want to share this on your Facebook, just go to my Facebook and hit the little share button, and it'll send it to your Facebook. Instagram Live people, if you want to hear Jay when he talks and see the graphics and everything, you can go to Facebook or YouTube now. Also, guys, no pressure. I'm doing this because I love to do it and because I'm trying to create stuff and I'm trying to stay busy and I'm trying to not just sit and feel sorry for myself with this pandemic, and I'm trying to sharpen my skills, and I'm trying to hopefully one day have my own barbecue TV show. So the only way that's going to happen is doing stuff like this. I don't want to just sit and feel sorry for myself that this is happening. So point is, I'm happy to do this. All right. But if you want to support and throw a little money into the meat fund so that I can buy stuff and actually be smoking something right now, hit my Venmo, Dave W Comedy. I'm going to split all that with my production guy. Doesn't it look nice? Lights, audio. We are all set up professionally here. So I want to throw some cash to my production guy, my neighbor, JR, who is sitting on his ass right now as well, like everyone else in the world. We just found out it's going to be till at least July. So help him out, all right, guys? All right, I'm going to hit a few buttons here. Watch this fancy stuff, everybody. I'm going to throw that over there. I'm going to bring that up in the corner, and I'm going to bring my guest in, and boom! What's up, Jay? Can you hear us, buddy? I don't hear you yet. Make sure your mic is on, and if not, then it must be my fault. So just talk. Test 1 2 3. You're just staring at it, Jay. You're talking. There you go. I can't hear you yet. We'll fix it. Oh, yeah, there you go. Talk a little louder.
Oh, boom.
Yay, there we go. Now I got you, man.
There we go.
All right. Sorry.
Thanks for.
I wasn't sure. It was a perfect timing of a plane coming overhead, the speaker taking a second to kick on. I wasn't sure where the fault was lying, but we got you. I can hear you now. How's it going, buddy? Everything cool at your place?
It's going good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you got a booster or what?
Yeah, it's also a local brewery, the Golden Road over in Burbank.
Nice, man.
Got the mango cart going.
I love it, dude. I've had that before. It's delicious. I have a little social experiment that I'm going to do. Barbecue dudes like to have a beer in their hand. And since I'm doing this at 6 o'clock, so 6 o'clock East Coast, 9 o'clock, or 6 o'clock West Coast, 9 o'clock East Coast, I just have a feeling that over 90% of my guests, without me saying anything to them, are already going to just have a cocktail with them. So far, we're 2 for 2. So far, we're 2 for 2. My guest brought one yesterday, and you brought one today. I have this philosophy, too. I have a phrase that I use, which is 3 beers deep, because I think that is the perfect level to be as a dad and a guy who likes to sit out here and flip meat at this portion in my life. Because we're not college kids anymore. We don't want to be like fall down drunk. That's embarrassing to your family, right? But you also don't want to be stone cold sober when you're out here cooking steak or have something on the smoker. So I think 3 beers deep is the perfect amount. And that doesn't mean you only drink 3 beers. It means you stay right in that pocket. So when the first beer starts wearing off, then you have the 4th beer. And if if you're cooking for 12 hours, you might have 8 beers, but you try to stay right in that 3 beers deep range.
Yeah. I found that a tall boy is usually perfect. That's like a beer and a half, So if I keep a tall boy going every, hour or something like that, then I'm right there in that zone.
That's a real loophole. I didn't think about the fact that these are really big beers.
Yeah. I mean, this is a little dinky guy right here.
Jay, so I had you on the podcast, the long form, the more traditional sense of my podcast before, and you were a great guest, man. I love talking about your journey and how you got to where you are now. What have you been doing since all this craziness has started? Have you stayed busy? Are you doing pop-ups, or have you kind of shut it down a little bit?
I switched gears. I've been busy, which is nice, but before the world went on pause, I did a lot of weddings and a lot of large catering stuff, as you know, like the Rams and the USC Trojans. But now it's been a lot of roadside stuff or drop-offs, little ones here and there. And then luckily I have this partnership with Buy Ranch Direct, where they take barbecue, like they're a all natural rancher, and they ranch, grow the animals, process them, and sell the meat. And so they would give me the meat. I would cook it and then plate it and flash freeze it and give it back to them, and then they sell it or ship it. So that has blown up, as you can imagine, because people are stuck at home and they want to eat some food and they want to eat some barbecue and they can't go out and get it, so they're ordering that. So I'm cooking that as fast as they can sell it these days, which is great.
Yeah, I thought about you when all this stuff first started happening, because as I was kind of keeping tabs on my friends and seeing how people were doing, it seemed like a lot of people with barbecue pop up, especially, we're doing all right. Like they were figuring out ways to adjust, and people, if you're only gonna have one meal that you eat out like once a week, you don't want to go get like Carl's Jr. You want to like make it a real meal, get a brisket, some mac and cheese, and comfort food.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about you because I know that you do that with Buy Direct, and then I also know that your main account is what you just said, the Coliseum with the Rams and the college football, right? So
yeah.
It looks like we're not going to maybe have that, at least not on time when you normally would have that account. I was thinking, he lost that, but I bet the Buy Direct stuff is picked up.
Yeah, there's that, and the Hollywood Bowl is another one. So I don't know. I kind of feel like it's going to go two ways. It's going to really slowly ramp up, and people are going to be afraid, or something's going to happen, and there's going to be some paradigm shift, and then everyone's just going to hit it because they're going to be stuck. They're going to be done being stuck at home, and they're just going to go rage. I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes.
Well, so what you're saying is in September there's going to be a lot of music festivals.
I think so, yeah. I hope so, anyway.
Man, that reminds me of, I remember you were doing this one event here in town, and the event was a concert. It was a festival, right?
Yeah, that was Dirty Bird.
It was called Dirty Bird.
Dirty Bird's Barbecue.
Dirty Bird's Barbecue. But it wasn't a barbecue. It was the theme for like a rave, basically. And you hit me up and you go, hey man, I'm doing this event. You want to come by? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want to come by. I didn't know there was this big barbecue event going on. You're like, I'll leave you some tickets. And I'm like, great. So me and my buddy, it's two schlubby 40-year-old dudes, roll down there, and we're like telling on the list, I'm like, Barbacoa Boyz left my wristbands here. And they're like, we don't see you on here. And I looked so out of place. And then they gave me the wristband and we go in, and I'm like, I don't see barbecue. And it was, you were just a vendor there. Like you were the only barbecue guy. And then it was just a music festival with all these like 20-year-old kids on Molly.
Yeah, that was, believe it or not, a fun, I think we've done 2 or 3 of those now. And when I first did it, I didn't really know much about Dirty Bird or the music they had, but I've done enough of them now where I totally dig it. After like 8 hours of cooking, listen to them warm up with their sets and then go into it, because they would never stop. They would just start, and then the beat would always go. So by the end of the day, I was saucing chicken, just like just serving it, and just like 8 hours of that.
Yeah, someone slips something in your drink, and then next thing you know, the chickens get up and start dancing on the smoker.
Pretty much.
Psychedelic. Ooh.
Man. Yeah, Bart's did a few of those with us too, so he can attest. It was bananas.
He was helping me out that time when I went, man. Yeah, I got to have him on something. I'm wearing my Bart's hat today. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I got my Barbacoa hat back there as well. I should have worn my Barbacoa hat today. That was a real miss for me. Oh well.
Oh man, God.
Next time, what are you gonna do? What have you been cooking anything exciting at home, man? You having fun with all this time at home?
I've been playing around with a lot of Meat District meat, because they're a big company that does meat. You can find them in like Kroger's and Vons and Ralph's and all these guys, Costco. They do kind of like a fancier party wings or like burgers, and they've got a couple different burger patties. Anyways, they reached out to me and wanted to sponsor me, so they sent me a bunch of meat. So I've just been playing with different barbecue patties and testing them out, and the chicken wings, and so that's been kind of fun. You've probably seen a few times where I'm like down at the grill and just throwing a patty on there or some chicken wings or something.
Oh yeah. So, and I did the video a couple weeks back or a month or two back, whatever it was, where all these sports teams were putting videos up where they were virtually playing catch, going from screen to screen, and they were editing it together. So I got the idea. I should do that with my barbecue friends. And we did one where we passed the meat in and out of frame, and you were nice enough to make one of those videos for me. And you had a nice big beef rib that you made at home that you used, right?
Oh yeah.
And you had you and your kid, and the video came in, and the two of you took a bite off it, and then you passed it. And just so you know, when I edited all those videos together, I had about 12 or 13 different pitmasters on there. Yours was the only one that I left the audio on
Oh
because
yeah.
because you guys went ah.
Okay.
So I gotta leave that on, man. That's too good.
Yeah,
But
my son was ready to go, man. As soon as he saw that, he was like,
oh, my kids hate it when it's like when I make something and they want to dig into it, and I'm like, no, I got to take some pictures on portrait mode, and they get Instagram followers and da da da. They're like, can we just eat?
yeah. It's the whole thing these days. I never thought I'd be the guy that's like taking pictures of everything I cook, but it's the way of the world.
I mean, for what you do, man, it's like Instagram is gold. It more so than any other social media. Like Instagram has made an industry, really, man. A lot of these pop-up guys probably it's what's elevated them to people's awareness, you know.
Totally, and it's such a visual thing, you know, that it's easy to just see something and know you either like it or you don't. You know exactly what's going on when you see it. That's rib. I like ribs. I'm gonna like that.
Yeah, and barbecue is very photogenic.
Oh yeah, it always looks good.
There's some things that I try to take pictures of that don't, you know, it doesn't do it any justice. But barbecue, man, you can get some good shots with that for sure. What?
So I like your setup here. You got everything built now, man. It looks legit.
Thanks for giving me an excuse to talk about it. Yeah, I'm super proud of it, man. So I got to finish painting the deck so the deck all matches with my old one. And once I do that, you won't be able to tell what's new, what's old. And then you see over there in the corner, I put a little planter on it. So I'm gonna fill that with soil and put some like rosemary or some thyme or I don't know, something that would be good for barbecue garnishes, right?
Dude, rosemary. Anytime you're making steaks, you just pull off a twig, throw it in the butter.
Right in the bag, and then do the sous vide with the rosemary in the bag already. I like it.
Yeah.
You do a lot of chicken, man. You do more chicken than probably most of these guys, huh?
I do. I like chicken. You know, because I do a lot of weddings and stuff, there's always people that don't like pork, you know, so chicken's a good thing. And for the people that aren't all that indoctrinated into barbecue, sometimes they don't understand brisket or what it is or how good it is, or, you know, so they'll just opt for the chicken. So it's always a safe bet. Everybody eats chicken. Even vegetarians eat chicken.
I did a gig with my buddy in January, and I'm like, dude, we're going to eat good this weekend. I know all the good restaurants. We're down in South Florida. And he's like, I don't eat meat. And I go, you don't eat meat? He's like, no, I don't eat meat. I'm like, since when? He's like, nah, I met a pig, and I got along with this pig, and now I just have a thing in my head, and I don't eat meat. I go, all right. And then we start going places, and he's eating chicken. He's eating, fish, and he's eating seafood. And I'm like, you eat meat, bro? And he's like, no, just. I'm like, you don't eat beef or pork. I go, is what you mean, like, but you eat meat.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm sure there's some really nice fish out there too. If that's the reason you're not eating it, dude, like all fish are just assholes or something. But that pig was nice, so I don't want to eat one of his cousins.
Dude, I'd barbecue more fish if it was like more of a barbecue thing, you know. But I feel like in the barbecue community, if you put salmon on the menu, people aren't gonna understand what you're doing there, you know.
Yeah, fancy pants. They'll make fun of you. You'll be shunned. Hey, look at
like,
that
salmon. What is this? You know,
wrapping it in the palm leaves.
At the Coliseum, there was a guy there 2 years in a row. I think his name was Black Sugar, and he did alligator.
His name was Black Sugar.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
That's a great name. Black Sugar barbecue. I like it.
Black Sugar. But he did alligator. So he would have a whole alligator there, and then when people came by, he'd give them samples of the alligator.
There's no shortage of exotic things that you could put in a smoker, man. When we went to that LA Food Bowl, they were making I think it was the dude Horns Barbecue. I think he from up Northern California. He was doing oxtail.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Dude, I've thought about that a lot. Like there's so many things you could do with that. You could do like kind of a barbacoa, because barbacoa can be, depending on where you're from, it could be cheek, head, tail. I mean, tail's probably original, but a meat with the barbacoa flavor, or you could do a chili probably with the nice oxtail.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know where I would get oxtail, but I'm sure I could come up with that. I'm sure the Buy Ranch Direct guys have plenty of oxtail lying around that I should take off their hands.
I was just going into a trance listening to you talk about. It was like Bubba Gump going like shrimp casserole. I just wanted to hear you talk about oxtail like that for like 20 minutes.
Oxtail and rice,
Yeah.
oxtail gumbo. That's about it.
Fried oxtail tacos.
That's another thing is like I love tacos, I love burritos, but I feel like the second I put a burrito, which would probably be the best burrito I've ever had in my life. Like imagine a brisket burrito.
Oh, I've had them.
It'd be amazing. But then I would be a burrito guy. It's just that'd be it.
Yeah, dude, that's one of my favorite. Like, look, brisket is one of the few things that you're definitely going to have leftovers because they're so big, right? So,
yeah,
unless you're having a party or something, you're gonna have leftovers. So, dude, I love and brisket's good the next day, but it's not the same. Whereas, like the first day, you want to eat it, nothing, messing it up, just pure brisket. But I like with the second day getting creative with it and making omelets or tacos or sandwich or something,
Quesadillas are great.
Yeah,
I've been wanting to do a bolognese, like a spaghetti bolognese with brisket. That might be pretty good.
Dude. Yeah, a little brisket meat sauce. Oh yeah, man.
Oh, all day.
Talk a little bit about the word barbacoa, because you obviously feel connected enough to it to have it part of your name. Barbacoa Boyz with a Z, because that's cooler. But some people might not be familiar with the word barbacoa. Teach them something here, Jay.
Barbacoa, as I understand it, and everything I've read, is the root word of barbecue. So way back in the day when the first guys got off a ship and they came over here and they saw some of the natives cooking meat on wood sticks high over a fire, like high enough to where it wasn't direct flame cooking. It was radiant heat. There was a coal bed and they had a fire. And they asked them, what is that? And they said barbacoa, or, barabacue, I think is how it was spelled. But that translated over the years to barbacoa. And it's kind of only made its way back to the States, within the last couple years, I don't know, a decade or something like that. But before that, it was all over South America, Argentina, that sort of thing. If you said barbacoa, depending on what region you were in, it had a totally different flavor and it was a totally different animal. Some places it was a whole beef head that they would cook underground, and sometimes it was a goat. It's usually wrapped in banana leaves. But to keep it simple, I like to just think of it as a fancy way to say barbecue boys. So we picked that name when we were first doing competitions, because everybody's got a funny name in a competition, and we were trying to come up with something. So I came up with Barbacoa, and then we were like, let's do Barbacoa Boys. And one of my friends and member of the team, his name's Brandon Lott. He lives down in Long Beach, and he felt strong about the fact that the plural needed to be a Z, not an S. So that's what it was, which is probably a great thing, because as far as I know, there's no Barbacoa Boys with a Z anywhere on the internet. So we're like page one of everything in a Google search.
Made it a lot easier to buy your domain name, I'm sure. But dude, we kind of laugh about that a little bit in the comedy world, because there's so many old cheesy comedy clubs that have a Z. Like, it's like it was like there was a period of time, it was like these comedy clubs from like the 80s or something. Like that was the thing to do, because there was like Snickers and Bunkers and like Laps Comedy Club, all these things with a Z. Or just like, who did everyone at the same time just go like, we got to get a Z in our name,
Yeah, I think so.
I think it works a lot better for you though.
We've been toying with the idea of a product line and sweaters and stuff. We already have a lot of that says Barbacoa Boys, but we're like, I'm thinking I should come out with a female line that's girls, Barbacoa Girls, but instead of just it's a U, like girls.
Oh,
Barbacoa Girls.
What up, girl? You like barbecue too? All right.
Girls. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to check with the wife and see what she thinks.
All right. Well, I want a men's and a women's sweatshirt, extra large, both. Okay.
Deal.
I'll represent the girls.
Yeah.
Tell people. Just to follow up on what you're saying too, man. I've been consuming a ton of barbecue content online, like everything that's on Fire Stick or Roku. I'm watching, right, and most of the shows revolve around the competitions, and I think it's the funniest thing in the world to see the names that people come up with for the competition teams. It's usually some sort of euphemism, right? It's It's usually always like busting guts or something, or porking all night or something like that,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's like a family event. There's like people there who have like their barbecue team is like this dad and mom and like some little kids, and they're waiting to see her. And then it's like, no, they lost the first place to everyone, busting guts, porking all night. Like, you got to explain to your kids why they're named that.
I guess the only way to make sense of that is the few competitions that I've done, there's a guy whose full-time job it is to drive around with a keg of beer and make sure that all the competitors always have a full glass. So we're cooking all night long. So by the time turn-in happens, everybody's in a happy place.
Yeah.
So that must be when they start coming up with the names or something.
I don't have a lot of experience with the competitions. I have been to one just as a just as a guest, just to go and eat, and experience it. A fan, I guess, we would say. But what I've heard from the guys I've talked to is the big ones. There's two different types of people that are there. There's the ones that are there and they're trying to win and they're really serious about it. And there's the ones that don't care where they come in. They're just there to party. And
Totally.
they're just up drinking all night. And, if they do good, they do good. If not, oh well.
Yeah. My first competition, Big Papa Smokers was there. He was also the one that put on the event. And he rolled up with the rig. I don't know what it cost. I can only imagine it was probably $200,000 because it was a Peterbilt in the front, and then it had a whole sleeping compartment, and in the back it had an entire commercial grade kitchen. And then he had like pellet smokers and all this stuff. So he literally just did whatever he does with his meat, put in a thing, and then went to bed. Got a full night of sleep, came out the next day, pulled this stuff out, and won the competition. Meanwhile, the rest of us were just wrecked the next day because we were up all night long trying to do all the stuff, and it was crazy.
That's cheating, bro.
It is. I think there should be at least one competition where everybody gets the same kind of meat and they have to cook on the same type of device.
Yeah. Well, you like watch the shows like Myron Mixon has the show or had a show called Smoked. So it was just head to head, this guy versus that guy. And they were able to bring their own smokers with them, so they had the familiarity of the smokers, but they put all these constraints on them. They said like, today you're going to be smoking this, and then like they didn't know what they're going to. So it's just like they pop it on them, and then they're like, you have 8 hours to do it. And sometimes one time it was like a whole hog. So then these guys had to be like, how do we smoke a whole hog in 8 hours? And they had to just like figure it out. And then they throw them for loops, where they go like, you have to now cook something else while you're cooking that. And they just keep throwing stuff out. People don't realize it. That's the degree of difficulty. People come over to my house and they eat something sometimes, and I go, oh, man, this brisket's better than at so-and-so restaurant. And I'm like, yeah, but that so-and-so restaurant is cooking 100 briskets a day. That's way harder than me paying attention to one brisket and having a good outcome,
Oh, totally. I mean, like consistency over time, I think, is really what separates the men pitmasters or women from the boys and girls, because
I don't know how you do it at the football games, man. I mean, I can't even imagine the volume you go through there.
Yeah, we cook at least 300 pounds a game, and we sell every last morsel of it.
And it's like when it's out, it's out.
It's out. Yeah, I mean, I need another smoker to cook more. I've had people come up and be pissed off like third quarter. Hey, you're out. You're supposed to have food. And it's like, dude, there's 65,000 people here. I can't feed 65,000 people.
Do you can you tangibly see the difference between someone who buys barbecue in the first quarter versus people who are buying barbecue in the third quarter? Are they just way more hammered?
Oh, definitely. Especially the Rams games, I mean, so for the Coliseum, they have the USC games and the Rams games, right? And the USC, they don't serve alcohol, so there's a lot more food vendors. And then for the Rams, they take out half of the food vendors and replace them with beer booths. And then they let some of the vendors like us sell beer in addition. So there is so much beer being drunk, and it's all tall boys. That's like the only thing you can buy. So, and you can only get 2 as a minimum. So usually if you're going to wait in line and go through the trouble to get a beer, you're getting 2 tall boys.
Yeah, might as well. It's just economic.
So I don't know when the last time you drank 2 tall boys inside of an hour, which is usually what happens, but there's 2 things. People get drunk and people got to go to the bathroom after that.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I'll go to places like that, and I wonder. I did have a pork sandwich one time at the Coliseum. It wasn't you. It was some other vendor that was there. But I do remember looking at it and being like, "Oh, that looks like actual real barbecue. That sounds better than having a hot dog right now." And I waited, and it wasn't. It was just slept together pork sandwich. But if I was like a dude at a football game and stumbled upon your barbecue, I'd be like, "Is this real life? This is like real food in a sporting event? Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, man, we made it work somehow. It's just the first year, believe it or not, we had an 80-gallon smoker, and we were just way over our head. If we would stuff that thing and break every rule in barbecue, and we would have like 8 briskets, and we just thought we were the bee's knees, man. We were slinging so much Q, and now with our 500-gallon smoker, we go through 8 briskets in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And people know to come to us first, so before the brisket runs out and blah blah. So we're doing 20 briskets, and usually it's out at halftime or right after halftime.
Nice. Hey, we got some comments coming in. Dustin Bartz is on. He says he likes the hat.
When Dustin comes on here, you need to wear the boys hat.
All right, I'll go. Hold on, I'll go switch.
And then I'll make the same comment.
All right, deal. And then Adrian Blackney's on there. He says, "Two sauced, two pork" is a good barbecue name. Adrian's the one who sent me my hat that just says meat across the top of it.
Okay.
Adrian's a partner in a barbecue restaurant in Memphis, which I believe, forgive me if I get this wrong, it's called Western Barbecue. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments there, Adrian. But I got to get there in person. The pictures look awesome. I can't wait to try it one day. And Jason Olszewski's on too, man, of Olszewski's Barbecue in Cleveland, man. Brisket pot pie, dude. Jason makes some creative stuff. I'm definitely going to have him on soon, man. Jason makes some creative stuff. Brisket pot pie sounds delicious, dude.
Oh, man, I'd eat that all day.
Yeah, he does like a pulled pork sandwich, but he does it with like pulled beef. He gets like a prime rib loin kind of thing, and just like cooks it like it's pulled pork. It looks incredible.
Dude, I'd take it down.
Central Barbecue. Thank you, Adrian. Central Barbecue in Memphis, Tennessee, you guys. Support them if you can. And Adrian, I'd love to have you on a live stream sometime, buddy. And Jeff Shepard just popped on too. It's from Dudes Brewing Co., brother. Jeff Shepard, a RecTech owner, took my recommendation with the RecTech, and he's the greatest spokesman. He fucking loves it.
Yeah.
Tell me about your smoker, Jay. What you working with these days? Same thing?
Same thing. It's a 500-gallon offset by Fat Stack Smokers.
Fat Stacks is the legit here, man. I've been trying to chase them down to come on for a while now onto the podcast, but a lot of people have Fat Stacks around the LA area.
Yeah, I mean, it's either that or you pay a premium to ship it in from Texas or Florida or something like that. And in my view, they're making them just on par with, the big boys out there in Texas. I think Fat Stacks has even sent some Fat Stack smokers from California to Texas, which I always think is a funny, like you're going to tell the Texas boys that their rig is from California?
Yeah, I'm sure of it, man. I'm sure that. I mean, you got a good product. People are going to find it, right?
Yeah. Hey, have you had a chance to play with the new Masterbuilt gravity-fed charcoal smoker?
No.
Have you seen them?
No.
It's basically the same concept as a pellet smoker, but it's gravity-fed. It's got a fan at the bottom. Gravity-fed charcoal. You can use lump or you can use briquettes.
Well, that's my Assassin right there that I got from Dustin. Is a gravity-fed smoker.
Yeah, that's why I asked, and because the Masterbuilt one's blowing up. I see commercials all the time, guys playing with it and whatnot. And the one thing I've heard is that it eats through a lot of charcoal. So I was curious to see if you had a comparison between yours and one of those.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's why I definitely have to use lump charcoal. Any other kind of charcoal you use, it burns up like that. But if you get a nice, a nice stack of lump charcoal, I could sleep through the night more or less and not worry about it if I load it up. But it's a big smoker though.
Yeah. Hey, sleeping through the night's better than getting up every 45 minutes to feed the fire,
Dude, I got to tell you, man, I love my setup right now. I love the RecTech company, and I have zero shame in the pellet smoker. I think it puts out a great product, and I love my gravity fed smoker. And on nights that I really want to fire it up and go for it, I really love using my Assassin. But on nights when I really want to eat good food and I just can't spare the sleep, I just crank that bad boy up and I don't worry about it as much, you know?
Oh yeah, dude. I think I told you I've got a Yoder YS640 that I smoke on sometimes, and I love that thing. You know, I mean, it's a slightly different thing than the big boy rigs, but it's still delicious. It makes great Q, and it's easy to do, and I got no complaints using it.
Sure, man. You brought up salmon earlier, so I just did some salmon recently on the Rec Tech, and my water polo team for a coach's gift bought me a salt block. So I cooked it on a salt block. It was actually really fun. You know, I just cranked it up super hot. You have to gradually warm the salt block. It takes like an hour to get it hotter, and then you throw it on and you just kind of like, I don't know, fry it, I guess is the way to put it, on the salt block, and then close the lid, let it kind of smoke and also sizzle it on the salt block. And it's supposed to infuse like a more natural salt flavor instead of sprinkling salt on top of it. And I mean, who knows if it really adds that much flavor. I didn't really have a control group, but it came out delicious. I liked it.
Hey, if nothing else, you can just break off a chunk and smash it up and sprinkle it on top.
Okay.
You know, it's one of those Himalayan like pink ones, right?
Yeah, it's a big.
Yeah, that's legit salt.
How do people get the company that you teamed up with, that you're making the barbecue for, and their packaging? How do they find that? Where do they go to order your barbecue from them?
So they can go to buyranchdirect.com and order it there and have it shipped to their house or dropped off if they're in the LA area. They also have 5 farmers markets they're at every week. One of them is Torrance. The other one is Mar Vista. I think there's Silver Lake, and maybe, not sure what the other ones are, but they're on their website. So if you just go to buyranchdirect.com, you can see it all there.
And are those farmers markets aren't going on right now though? Are they?
Yeah, they're still going. Yeah, and they're still there. I mean, I guess it falls under kind of like a supermarket.
Yeah. Well,
so
not in El Segundo. Our farmers market is shut down.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bad. Well, I know the Mar Vista one's still going strong. I think the Mar Vista and the Torrance are still up and running.
Good to know. So guys, go check that out. If you want some delicious barbecue and you haven't wanted to venture out of your house to go pick it up somewhere, then you can order it online there and get it that way at the real deal. What's the best way for people to reheat it once they get it? Like sous vide it, or what's the best way for them to do it?
If you've got a sous vide, put it in a bag, sous vide. That's a great way to do it. Or it comes in a pan that's oven safe. So you just take the lid off, throw it in your oven at like 375 for about 20, 30 minutes, and it's golden.
Nice. And and you guys have brisket?
Right now we have brisket, pulled pork, chicken, and brisket chili.
Brisket chili. Nice. I'm gonna get my hands on some of that.
Yeah. Oh, it's tasty. It's the same stuff we serve at the Rams, you know, because we when we're trimming the brisket, sometimes you got to trim meat off because it's just not going to survive the cook. So we take all those trimmings and we still smoke them, and then we smoke them differently, but we smoke them and then we put them in the chili.
What's your gut feeling on this supposed meat shortage that's happening? Do you think it's going to be harder to get product, or do you think it's kind of overblown?
It's a real thing. I mean, it hasn't touched me very, very much, luckily, because most of the stuff I'm cooking is for Buy Ranch Direct, and they own the entire line. Like, they raise the cattle, they own the land they raise it on, they grow their own grass, which is like this proprietary barley mix that's super nutrient dense, and they take the cows themselves to the processing plant, which they also either own or run or have some partnership with, and then they bring the meat down to themselves. So they don't have any shortage. So I've had a couple barbecue guys reach out to me and say, hey, I can't get any meat, and I just send them over there.
So what's the play? What should I do? Should I buy like an entire cow and put it in a freezer?
I mean, no, I don't think, because there's probably lots of those cuts you're not going to.
Would I just be the guys who are hoarding toilet paper at that point? Am I no better than the people that are buying all the toilet paper?
Yeah,
give me a whole cow.
Yeah, you're gonna bring like the whole cow back minus the briskets and maybe like the fillets and the back straps or something. Can I
Sounds like a
return this
monochrome.
part? Yeah. But yeah, you could order a whole bunch from them. I mean, like I said, they don't have any shortage. So I don't know what the shortage is about. I think I heard that it was like some of the guys that are working at the processing plants are sick or something. So they're not able to process the meat, to pack it up, to send it to the stores, I guess. It's weird that we're getting into that now and not in the beginning. I don't know. Maybe people got tired of buying toilet paper, so they went to buying high-end cuts of meat for barbecue.
I mean, chances are it's a little bit of everything. It was, people are cooking at home a lot more, so they're buying a lot more, of high quality stuff that they want to cook themselves. And then it was that one processing plant. A bunch of people got sick and they closed down. And then there's one clickbait article that comes out about that, and then everyone goes crazy and starts ordering the meat. And then it's who knows, man? It's the telephone game with the media,
Yeah. Hey, so are you still planning on when this all ends and comedy is available again? Are you still planning on doing the comedy barbecue fest? Because I'm sure there's some like the Ice House or some of the big places that haven't had any comedy in a long time that they could definitely use.
Dude,
a whole
100%.
round of dudes cooking meat and telling funny jokes.
Dude, 100%, man. I was so excited about that. It was one of the it was right at the beginning of this. It's one of the first things I had to cancel. And I had it all set up. For people that don't know, there's a venue here in my neighborhood called South Bay Customs, which I've used for a comedy venue before during my comedy festival, which isn't happening. That should be going on in a few weeks from now. So the plan was we were going to do a comedy / barbecue event, right? And I was going to have that particular one was going to be Dustin Bart's Barbecue. He was going to come and be the vendor. And I don't remember what we were charging. It was like $25 for your ticket or something. You got a plate of barbecue and you got entrance into the show. We're going to do an hour of comedy. And then after the hour of comedy and everyone's eating their barbecue and whatever, we were going to do a Q&A with you. Were going to try to come by, Bart, whoever, Meathead, all the local guys, whoever could come by, great. And then we were just going to do a Q&A, which is just a live version of what we're doing right now. And people could ask questions and we could just shoot the shit. And the comics, I was hoping they'd stick around and kind of make fun of us. And it would just be kind of fusing two things that I love to do, So
the comics are going to have plenty of stuff to make fun, because there's going to be the barbecue nerds that are like fat side up or fat side down or what, oil or paper. And then the comics are just going to annihilate them. So I think we should totally do it.
100%, man. It's so hard for me now. Like, I'm on, I'm sure you are too. I'm on all these Facebook groups that are barbecue Facebook groups. And people used to get mad. They would be like, oh, I'm sick of people asking the same questions over and over again. Foil or butcher paper and fat side up, fat side down, like you were saying, And, I was like, hey, man, just chill out, dude. Everyone's here to learn and whatever. And now I'm at the point where when people ask those questions, I'm like, oh, come on, man. Well, watch a YouTube video. Like,
Have you heard of YouTube? That question is definitely thoroughly answered.
I've turned into a barbecue snob.
Yeah.
That's great, man. Well, listen, the answer is yes. I am going to definitely do that. I am going to keep evolving the podcast and this, man. I love the world of barbecue, and anything I can do to fuse the entertainment world with the barbecue world and give you guys a platform for people to find you and to learn myself, then I will selfishly keep doing this stuff. So yeah, I can't wait to do that. My hope is that we do it here locally. I figure out the formula, what works, and then when I go on the road, and I'm like in Memphis doing a show, I can hit up Adrian and say, Adrian, why don't we do something with your barbecue place, with Central and kind of like bring in people to help everybody and have a fun time,
Yeah,
and
dude, I love it.
And whatever we call it, I'm gonna put a Z on the end of it. All right.
I love it. Comedies.
That's it, dude. Live comedy barbecue event. Za. Hey, Jay, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, dude.
Dude, thanks for having me on. I love all that you do to support barbecue and get us together and get us talking. And I love your whole setup down there. So keep the queue smoking, brother.
100%, man. And I'm doing this every day. So we're going to have repeat guests often. So keep your phone handy and be ready to come back. All right.
Yeah, you got it. As soon as Dustin's on here, Barbacoa Boyz hat, and I'm gonna be like, hey, nice hat, man.
It's gonna happen. I promise you. I'm gonna hit Dustin up in 5 minutes and be like, when can you come on? All right, brother.
Sweet, dude.
Remember, 3 beers deep, and have a great night.
You got it, man. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
See you, buddy. Let me click you out. Boom. Check that. Watch this, guys. Boom. This is so cool, man. I can't wait to keep messing with. Boom, boom. Isn't that awesome? Guys, make sure that you follow Jay on Instagram at the Barbacoa Boyz with the Z. We are doing this every day at 6 p.m. Thank you for everyone that tuned in, either on Instagram Live over there, either on Facebook here, on YouTube there. People are going to watch it in the. We had well over 100 people watching last night between all the different mediums. So thank you for the comments. I'm going to go respond to all those now, and then I'll also maybe carry some of those over till tomorrow. Appreciate you guys so much. If you want to buy my album, I have an album out. Just came out a couple months ago. It's called Trying My Hardest. Just message me. You can buy it online, iTunes, and all that stuff. But if you want me to send you an autographed copy, just message me. You can Venmo me whatever you want, dude. If you're having a hard time right now, Venmo me $5. If you're doing okay right now, Venmo me $30. I'll send you a DVD, CD, autographed to your house. Thank you to the Dudes Brewing Co. for hooking me up with some beers today. Appreciate you guys. I will be back tomorrow with another guest at 6 p.m. Thank you for watching. Love you guys. Have a great night.